Okay, guys, welcome back. Welcome back to another video, another review, as I go and review more episodes of Spongebob. This is part 4. Before I start today's video, I want to actually inform you guys, I'm not feeling the best. I'm actually really hoping I don't have COVID, especially since I actually had a party. Well, I had 2 parties, actually. I went to Angie's kids' party, and then I went to my party. Yeah, I have a birthday coming up, so happy early birthday to me. Yay. I wish I was feeling a little bit better, but it was a fun party. My dad couldn't make it, though. Apparently he said he had he wasn't feeling very hungry. At first I was upset with him, because I'm like, he just made pizza at home, but apparently he didn't even know I had a party, even though I told him it. I think he forgot. So he wasn't able to make it, which is kind of sad. I wanted him to be there too, but at least he wasn't trying to avoid me, because I thought that's what he was he was doing. You know, and I mean, I get it. It could be very chaotic with Angie's kids and my siblings and all that, but still, you know, I would like to have him there too. But I did get to see my friend Tay. If you guys don't know who that is, that's my friend Brianna's friend. The one I told you in the past who passed away. Yeah, she passed away. Before she hit 21, she passed away. Yeah, I miss her so much. She struggled, like, you know, she dropped out of school, and I knew she was struggling with stuff, but, she didn't pass away from suicide. She passed away from something else. I think they said seizures or something. I can't remember, but it was very sad. But if it weren't for that, I guess I probably maybe would have still, I don't know, actually, I don't know if I would have met Tay or not, because the way it's been going, trying to get a hold of my friends and all that's been kind of difficult. Especially with social media these days, but I don't know, but I still miss Brianna no matter what, but that said, though, yeah, I do not feel very good, so hopefully I'm not sick, because if I'm sick, then they're gonna get sick too, possibly. Not to mention I was hugging some people, because I like to hug my friends, you know, and all that, so, I don't know if it's COVID or not, because I'm also having a problem breathing, and I know COVID has a problem with that, but you know, but breathing, like, I don't think anybody has struggled with breathing like this, though, but I don't know, but I'm probably not going to be uploading for a little while. I'll see how I feel tomorrow, but for right now, though, we will continue on this review, yeah. But yeah, I think we're in part 4 now, I believe. And I still got a few more parts to go. Trust me, we're almost done here. We're almost done. Yeah, this was all kind of messed up, because I said with my arm screwed up my medication and all, I kind of messed up the title cards a little bit. It's not like I have somebody else that could, you know, make them. I mean, I have to do them all myself, but I do want to apologize. I know some people are probably going to criticize that, but I'm like, try like, you know, doing this all on your own, especially when you break your arm, you have autism and all that, you know, and have medication issues. Trust me, it is very hard, especially I have bipolar on top of that, so I have, like, mood disorder, too, where my mood goes back and forth, you know, so, yeah, but the fact that we're in part 4 here just makes me terrified of Season 7. Especially Season 7, I'm going to have a lot more episodes to talk about. Just because I didn't talk about that many. I think I talked about the Legend of the Bikini Bottom episodes, but a lot of those episodes are very shitty, and I might have a lot to say about those episodes, but, and there's a lot more of them in that season, but, I think Season 9 out of all of them is going to be the most horrifying when it comes to this. I think Season 9's actually maybe better. I don't know. We're going to get to it down the road, too, but I do know it has a lot more episodes in it, too, than even Season 7, which already has a bunch, but it just takes me back to when, you know, Jim Reviews made, you know, his, SpongeBob reviews, you know, he did that season, you know, and all that, and had to, like, split it up into 5 or 6 parts, I think. It was crazy. But that said, though, I know I've been kind of going on for about 5 minutes now here. Actually, it has been 5 minutes, but I'm here to actually do the reviews now. So let's get back to this. So, this episode coming up here is Nature Pants. So, Nature Pants is next. So, this episode is pretty interesting for, a couple reasons. Number one, SpongeBob spends pretty much the entire episode naked. I'm not kidding, he spends the entire episode naked. And you might be wanting to know why he's naked. Well, he's naked because, he wants to go live with a jellyfish. But he wants to live with the jellyfish and all that, and I'm just like, I don't know, it feels kind of weird, why does he suddenly want to, live with the jellyfish? It feels kind of like it's kind of pushed in there out of nowhere and all that, it's like just, shoved it in there kind of out of nowhere. At the beginning, he's fantasizing about being with the jellyfish, and, I do like the fantasy when the Krabby Patties change into, the jellyfish, and he changes into one too. It's pretty interesting, but that said, though, I will say this episode, I'm gonna say right now, it's actually the first one, that I don't think it's really that funny. Let you take that back, there were, some others, like jellyfishing and all that were not super funny, but even that episode, despite it being a little more frustrating with Squidward torture, I will say it actually has more, the show has more, that episode makes me laugh a little bit more. This episode's really not the most funniest. But that's the thing, though. It's not that funny, but I do like the concept of SpongeBob going into the jellyfish fields and all that. Although there's not really a whole lot he really does in there, which can kind of drag the episode out a little bit. However, what really makes me like this episode is the fact Patrick. My God, Patrick. That's the other thing that I want to mention that was kind of weird about this episode. We have SpongeBob that's naked for pretty much the entire episode, and we have Patrick slowly losing it, and then, he ends up going mad and literally chases SpongeBob down and threatens to, put him in a freaking jar. That's freaking crazy. Patrick really likes SpongeBob, but honestly, I get it, that's his best buddy, but I'm can't he just go visit, can't he visit SpongeBob? Does he have to, go through all this trouble just to, get SpongeBob back? I don't know, that's kind of weird, or he can hang out with Sandy, which he, is doing with the episode, when they're having a picnic, trying to get SpongeBob back. But that said, though, but for the most part, there really isn't a lot about this episode that I really, care about too much. I will point this out, though. I guess I can point this out. That another thing that's interesting is Squidward himself. Now, I don't know if this is true. I have not been paying close attention, but I think this episode, is the first time where we see Squidward's normally a grumpy character who's always frowning. In this episode, I don't think, I could be wrong, but I don't think I saw him frown once. He's got that, I don't care look in his eyes, but, classic Brian from Family Guy and all that, how Brian has got that, whatever look on his face. But that said, though, Brian, that said that Squidward, though, is usually very grumpy, so in this episode, he just spends the entire episode in just, in a whatever mode. He doesn't even care, but he does have, his moment, where, Patrick talks about Squidward missing him, but Squidward doesn't miss him, and it's like celebrating in his house and all that. It's pretty funny. Which, by the way, I think they use the same gag they used in Home Sweet Pineapple, like where he goes in his house and and throws a party and all that. It's kind of funny. But like I said, there's just not really a lot else to the episode. That said, though, I think this episode, in my opinion, still deserves a good. And then I'll give this one a 88 points, as you guys see right there, 88 points. I was trying to remember what point system I gave it. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, if I gave it 100 or 120, I felt like that'd be too high, but I gave it an 88, which I definitely think fits this episode. It's very slow, but there's really nothing wrong about it, and there are some entertainment stuff in this episode. But honestly, it's kind of an average good. Like, it's not great. It's just kind of, it's good, like. Yeah, honestly though, you'd be thinking like maybe I should start ranking episodes on greats too, but I'm just gonna keep doing good, bad, and mess because then I'd have to like do like categories for like terrible and all that. I'm like, I thought this is more simple to do it this way. But yeah, I'll say, this episode is good, but definitely not one of my favorites of the season, but I don't hate it. Like, I look forward to this one when it comes on screen, but definitely not one of my favorites. I also noticed I had a little animation error there. I thought I fixed that one, but I did not fix it. You guys saw up there, see the greens, not with the 9 and all that. Here it's back. I think from here on out, I guess except for maybe the bottom here where the Nickelodeon logo is at. That's what that's supposed to be, the Nickelodeon logo. Down there, I think that's messed up. But for the rest of this, I think everything is pretty much back to normal. Hopefully. But anywho, we got another episode here called Employee of the Month. This episode, I could be wrong here. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think this is the first episode title card to actually use the Oyster Girls music. Now, it does appear in, this music does appear in the first episode too, but not in a title card. I think this is the first time we actually hear it in an actual title card. It's really good music though. Unlike the title card for Help Wanted and the Rank Hornpipe music, this one sadly disappeared over time. And actually, they did not play this one a lot at all. Like, it was one of those that actually disappeared in the, I think actually, I could be, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think the last time it appeared, like, was in Season 2, and then it disappeared. I could be wrong, but I think that's the last time it appeared, like in Sailor Mouth, which is an episode we'll get down the road. But I could be wrong on that one. It could have appeared afterwards. But I don't know if it appeared in any SpongeBob games afterwards. But pretty much this is the last time they actually used. I mean, they used the music was in the pre-movie era, and they barely used it at all. It was one of those that was also a Season 1 theme, Also, that music, I didn't mention with the Nostalgic Hawaii. Yeah, it's called not Nostalgic Hawaiiing. Nostalgic Hawaii is what the music's called. So that's what it's called. But the title card aside, this episode is about SpongeBob, winning the Employee of the Month, for apparently 26 times in a row. And he's so desperate to do it again for the 27th time. Which I guess would mean SpongeBob's been working at the Krusty Krab for at least a few years now. I don't remember how many years that would be, but I'm trying to figure out if it's 27. So 27 would be. Oh yeah, 27 would be 2 years and 3 months. Yeah, 2 years and 3 months. So he's only been working there for a couple of years. That's crazy. And he's he's got Employee of the Month and all that, like, that's crazy, though, how much, he's only been working there for a couple years. But yeah, they will reveal, down the road he's been working there a lot longer in the movie era, but in this episode, as for right now, this is how long he's worked there. And that said, though, in this episode, though, because SpongeBob's so desperate to win the Employee of the Month, he kind of goes crazy, and apparently, Squidward, he tries to, like, pester Squidward and all that. I gotta say, though, I do really like a lot of the jokes in this episode. There's a lot of funny jokes in this episode, a lot of them. Like, I like the part where he sneaks at Squidward's pillow and then reaches for his alarm clock. I like the part where Squidward, like, freaking, like, has all these random alarm clocks in his house. Like, geez, like, how, like, do you really need all of his alarm clocks? Like, I don't know, it's definitely an old school joke that they have, it's an old school joke they have where, like, a character will have, like, a random, a bunch of stuff. It's not as common of a joke, as, like, characters running through walls and all that. But, it is a, like, because there's, like, these fake walls and all that. Looney Tunes has done it, Scooby-Doo's done it. But that said, though, that whole joke there, that is a joke they've pulled a lot, I mean, to be fair, there's been plenty of shows before that, so it makes kind of sense, but, I still like the joke, But that said, though, Squidward, and because, Squidward is so, wants to prove SpongeBob innocent, he decides to stay up. Both of them end up staying up, and, but they both end up staying up to, like, to get to the Krusty Krab and all that, like, first and all that. There's actually a lot of funny jokes, too, that they have, like, and somehow they both, like, tie themselves to a freaking boat in an anchor. Like, how the hell did they tie themselves both to an anchor and I guess, to be fair, that maybe they both trapped themselves on a rope, like, and then, like, they got tied up on them, and, like, I don't know, maybe they got caught, because there's those traps, like, if you step in a rope, you'll go flying. We'll see that kind of thing in, like, the Fools of April episode. It's kind of weird, but I don't know, it's kind of weird, but yeah, I like a lot of the jokes. There's also that whole message in a bottle thing that's pretty funny, although I don't know what SpongeBob wrote. I can't read cursive, so I don't know what he wrote. Like, in there, I'm gonna say maybe it means later, or see ya, I don't know. I'd have to, like, look at it, because I can't read cursive, I am, like, in school, we were taught that in elementary school, but they quit teaching that kind of stuff, so, I don't know, that was a big thing, though, that a lot of pirates did. A lot of pirates wrote in cursive. So did the Founding Fathers. They wrote in cursive, too, so that was kind of a big thing, back for a long time there and all that. And, now people kind of just, write in print. But yeah, I will say, though, yeah, this episode, for the most part, is actually really good. However, I'm gonna say this. One thing I'll say is, I feel like SpongeBob is a little bit out of character. Like, I feel like him being kind of competitive like this kind of feels like, it doesn't feel like what SpongeBob, is known for. Like, I don't think SpongeBob would go out of his way to do this. Like, it does lead to a lot of funny jokes and all. Like I said, them trapping themselves constantly is pretty funny, and him breaking into Squidward's house, once again, like I said, they do it a lot in the show, and he, again, destroys his alarm clocks and all. That's pretty funny, but I do feel like it's a little out of character for SpongeBob, but at least they make it work. However, the biggest problem with this episode, and this is the part I do not like at all, like, I'm fine with SpongeBob being a little out of character because they make it work where they don't make him unlikable too much. Well, by too much, I mean for the most part. However, at the end of the episode, this is kind of what pisses me off. The end of the episode, now I don't see anybody point this out, which I'm honestly surprised, but I want to point this out. I feel really bad for Mr. Krabs at the end of the episode. Yeah, Mr. Krabs, the cheap asshole who scams people and steals people's shit and all that, and screws his employees over, you know that Mr. Krabs? I feel bad for him in this episode. I do, I feel really bad for him. So what happens is, SpongeBob and not Patrick, I'm sorry, I'm used to Patrick being there. No, SpongeBob and Squidward go in this freaking restaurant, wreck it, and blow it up, and at the end of the episode, they're freaking, yelling in his ear and all that, and, and then everyone's forced to, eat free Krabby Patties, and, I fucking really hate, the ending of this episode sucks, it really sucks. And remember, this is season 1, Mr. Krabs. This is season 1, Mr. Krabs. He's got some cheap moments in this season, like in Squeaky Boots, he kind of lied to SpongeBob to give away cheap boots, which, honestly, I don't actually didn't point that out. I don't know why he needed to lie to SpongeBob to give him boots. He could have just gave him the freaking boots, why, I guess to be fair, he wanted maybe some money off of them. I don't really know. I don't know, but it's kind of weird. But there's also, we have Arg coming up too. He's kind of cheap there, but for the most part, Mr. Krabs is really generous in this season. And even if he wasn't, he didn't do anything wrong in this episode to fucking, deserve this treatment, Like, I guess Squidward did mention that, he underpays his employees with the whole, they don't get any money for getting Employee of the Month. But, Squidward honestly doesn't have the right to say that because, he kind of slacks off of his job, so it makes total sense why he wouldn't get extra money, but I guess to be fair though, Squidward technically has been working there longer than longer than SpongeBob, because we saw in that episode there, but still, I really hate the ending. I hate the ending. Really, just pisses me off so much. Because the episode for the most part is really funny and really good, but like I said, the ending kind of takes away the episode a little bit for me. But that said, though, despite the ending, I still think for the most part the episode's still pretty enjoyable. I'm gonna give it a good. However, I gotta give it 74 points. Yeah, 74 points. This one was really close to getting mad, and that's because mainly the ending. Like I said, the ending really took away from this. A lot of times, honestly, in episodes, the ending doesn't always ruin the episode, but in this case, it really pisses me off, especially since Mr. Krabs, like I said, didn't do anything wrong in the episode, and this is the first, season where he's actually good. He's a likable character, yeah, he has his cheap moments, but they don't make him an absolute criminal, But that said, though, I still think this episode is still good. I still don't mind it, but the ending really pisses me off. Anywho, let's stop talking about Employee of the Month, and let's talk about another episode. Scaredy Pants. Now, fun fact, this is the first Halloween episode, that we have, and this is the only Halloween episode we'll have for many years to come. Yeah, they will not have another Halloween episode until, season 11. I know that's crazy, right? We won't have another Halloween episode until season 11. Which is really crazy. I've not seen that episode. I've seen some people talk about it. Even Jim Reviews has talked about it on his channel when he was still active. He talked about that. But that said, though, I have not actually seen it, so I can't really say my opinion on it. This one, though, I've seen many times in the past. So this episode here is about SpongeBob, afraid, he's afraid, and everyone keeps picking on him and treating him like shit, including Mr. Krabs. I know I said in the last episode we just talked about how Mr. Krabs for the most part is kind of, he's likable. Like, he's got his moments where he's cheap. For the most part, he's likable. This episode, he's kind of a dick to SpongeBob, but everyone's kind of a dick to SpongeBob. So what does SpongeBob do when he goes to his house? Carves a huge pumpkin, which I like how the pumpkin is like really huge, and I don't know why he has a huge. Well, I guess to be fair, having a huge pumpkin, a lot of people have that. There's actually a thing where you can have like pumpkin contests and all that for big pumpkins. I've heard they can get really big. I don't know if they can get the size of a house. I am not sure on that. I'm just, I know they can get very big, but eventually if they get too big, they can blow up. So yeah, I don't know how they would blow up, like if they turn into mush, or they'll just just a hole blows up in them. I don't know how that would work. Well, I guess a hole blew up in them. I guess technically that would probably turn them into a bunch of mush. I don't know. I just heard about that. I learned about that in ninth grade and all that. That was pretty cool. That said though, yeah, it's kind of interesting to see that. But SpongeBob decides to dress up as a ghost, a square ghost, to scare people, and it turns out it's not scary, so he decides to go as a round ghost, because Patrick shaves him round. As Patrick states, he has no idea who he is. I have no idea who he is either. I do know he's wearing the same, glasses and mustache and nose that, Plankton's Krabby Patty was wearing in, in the Fun episode, which is pretty cool. But I guess I forgot to mention, I guess Mrs. Puff's voice actually does change in this episode too. She just had a witch voice. We don't hear her deep voice, but I do like she has her witch voice, which is pretty cool. So we have a cameo from her. Which would be her first appearance, I believe. Yeah, her first appearance in a non-boating school themed episode. I guess Hall Monitor was focusing more outside of the school, but it still was I still consider it a boating school themed episode, because anything that has Mrs. Puff in it and it has something to do with boating school, I kind of, just go ahead and call it that. It's kind of, there's going to be some episodes down the road that, again, don't have that, but still, they don't even have boating school in it, but have her, in it, but it has something to do with her talking about boating school and all that, so, yeah. Doing Time's an example, that'll be an episode I'll talk about down the road, too, which is, I think, in Season 3, so we have a little ways to go, but, yeah, I don't know, but this is her first appearance at a non-boating school episode as a cameo, which is cool. But I do like how SpongeBob pretends to be the Flying Dutchman. Remember the comics? I still can't believe that again those people put his freaking dead body and display in a freaking window. That's still crazy to me. I know it's a cartoon, but still it's crazy. But that said though, so SpongeBob, ends up, again, trying to frighten everybody, so Patrick uses his voice, which I'm surprised nobody recognizes his voice, which is kind of weird. I guess to be fair, Patrick's probably more so in the background of a lot of fish, he just kind of appears, but I would still feel like if he's friends with SpongeBob, they would know who Patrick is, but even then, Squidward or Sandy or, Mr. Krabs doesn't know who he is. That's kind of weird. Also, there is a moment where, Mr. Krabs is choking on a freaking apple. Yeah, you could barb for apples. I haven't done that in years. Those were always kind of fun to go to do that kind of stuff. That was always kind of fun to do. But yeah, I really did like that kind of stuff. That said, though, Pearl is like, Pearl doesn't seem to give a shit that her dad is fucking choking on an apple. I mean, like, all she cares about is being embarrassed. You know, I'm glad you don't care about your fucking dad, you know, choking on a damn apple. I mean, sure, he's a cheapskate to you at times, but like, fucking, I hope you would at least care about your father choking on a damn apple. But I do like Sandy's costume too. Squidward's also supposed to be the Flying Dutchman, but I do like the part where we see him talking with Sandy, and she has a fish head. Pretty funny. I keep forgetting too how often they use Sandy in season 1. Like they use Sandy a lot in season 1. There is a time where she kind of disappears for a while. I think it's because of her, like she had, the voice actor had a lot of things going on, so she couldn't voice the character. I think that's what I heard, like in season 6 and all that, but still, I mean, even in season 5, I don't think she appeared this much. She's appeared in a crap ton of episodes, which is crazy. That said, though, I do like her outfit. She's supposed to be a fishbowl, and I like the joke because Squidward, of course, is not gonna get it because in their world, they're not pets. In the human world, fish are pets. You know, you have them in like, you have them in little bowls or something. It's pretty funny. I like that. But I like too how a real Flying Dutchman actually appears, and he's actually, fun fact, he's actually voiced by, the voice, I forgot his name, but he's the brother of Bill Murray. I forgot his name. Shoot, I don't remember his name. But he is Bill Murray's brother. If you don't know who Bill Murray is, Bill Murray is, been in a lot of movies. He's been in Space Jam. He was the Ghostbuster, like the original Ghostbuster, you know. He's appeared in, I'm trying to remember, he's appeared in a lot of things. He even voiced Garfield in a couple live-action Garfield movies, you know. By a couple, I mean like 2, because there's only, I think, 2 of them that they made. At least right now, as recording this, they only made 2 Garfield movies, that were live-action, but, he's been in a lot of stuff. So is this voice actor. This voice actor's been in a lot of stuff, too, He even played a role in the Christmas Vacation episode, or a Christmas Vacation movie too. He played a role in it too, which is cool. So hearing him voice the Flying Dutchman is pretty cool. I really like the Flying Dutchman. I just like him as a ghost. Like he's basically he's here to steal people's souls. I'm not really sure, why he's stealing their souls, is he actually stealing their pickles, or is he actually stealing, their actual, souls, because, I know Mr. Krabs you think he would just take their actual souls, but Mr. Krabs didn't mention him at the beginning, you know, so, it sounded like he was telling an actual story, so, I don't know. But I do like that. Also, I want to point out this too, that the Flying Dutchman actually has hair on his head too. You can only see it for a brief second when he says quiet and roast all the fish. You can see that that he has hair on top of his head too, which is really interesting. Later down the road, they'll actually make him bald, which is interesting. But I do kind of like that detail. Also, I like how he points out that SpongeBob's costume is the absolute worst. And honestly, I have to agree with him on SpongeBob's costume and betraying. His costume's not bad, but honestly, calling himself the Flying Dutchman, he looks absolutely nothing like the Flying Dutchman. Squidward takes the cake there. He looks more like the Flying Dutchman than SpongeBob does. But I like how he takes off the freaking robe and he runs away, or flies away, I should say. He can't run away, he has no legs anymore, you know. that's in his dead body, in a window spill or display. But we do get to see everyone else run away too, and a lot of people might say his brain and design looks a little hideous or creepy looking. I don't think it looks too bad. I think it looks a little weird, but it's not like too bad. Although I have to say his eyes having these cracks on them, kind of looks a little bit off. Especially since we see him with the hood on, he has no cracks on his eyes before that. So I don't know why they added the cracks on his eyes. They're not real cracks, but that's kind of what they draw the characters as. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. That was an accident. I swear, almost every review I've done there, I've done that. Also, I keep going back there too. Also, I guess I had an animation error too. Whoops, I had an animation error here too. Well, oh well. Like I said, I'm gonna try to work on fixing this down the road. But that said, though, I will say, I don't know. I'm gonna say this that I don't know. I'm gonna say that Scaredy Pants, though. Yeah, I do like how he actually gets payback on everybody for making fun of him and all that, and I like how Patrick runs away when he finds out that hat is actually a brain. That's really funny. Although a really good episode. Yeah, a really good episode, and definitely deserves 120 points, as we see here. Yeah, that's what must have happened. I must have forgot to actually put the good down there. Like I said, I have bipolar and all that, and like I said, I've been I messed my arm up, so I was actually doing a lot of this stuff also. I was making a lot of these while my arm was recovering. I'm not kidding, I was. So I was trying to do all this, and like I said, it was a mess. But next time, like I said, next time I do these reviews, I'm gonna try to fix this. I will. But yeah, I know some people are probably gonna be mad at me, but I don't really care. Like I said, like I said, try just doing this by yourself. It's kind of a pain, but that said, I do care that I want to get it fixed. But like I said, I don't care if people get mad at me. That's what I mean. But anywho, let's go on to the next episode, and this is I Was a Teenage Gary. Oh yeah, this is another one I reviewed. This is actually one of my first reviews I did. I did one on Family Guy first, and then I went to this one. I was doing a Family Guy review, so I was gonna do some separate ones, but I was like, I wanted to kind of grow my channel a little bit, so I was doing these Spongebob ones first. And, I was like, I decided to do this. Now, actually, these were the lowest one, or Family Guy Customer of the Week review. That was actually not my first review. I had some other ones. Unfortunately, I can't figure out how to access them on my channel again. So I'll have to figure that out down the road. Yeah, I have them I have them privated. I kind of wish I just kept them out a little bit, but I have them privated because, well, I was I kind of messed some. I kind of it kind of was a little sloppy. But I kind of wish I kept it there. But I don't know how to. I'm trying to get it to unprivate it, but I can't get the videos to work. So I don't know. But that said, though, this episode, if you guys haven't seen my review on it, I'm going to kind of touch on it briefly. This episode is about SpongeBob and Patrick going on, this typical jellyfish convention. As I brought up in my review, I talked about how this could tie into the episode I'm Biggest Fanatic, which is the episode with Kevin in it, the sea cucumber guy, which is in season 2. Now, they could have just made a whole new episode, but it'd be kind of funny if it was actually tied into that episode. That said, though, you know how I don't, this episode, I I've talked about before how I'm not like this is like that was probably my least favorite season 1 episode. I still think it is. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and just give the review out of the way. I still think it's a good, and I think though it deserves 76 points. Yeah, 76 points. Yeah, I'm just gonna get the scores out of the way here. Although it has a higher score than, the Employee of the Month episode. Like I said, I scored them not on my thoughts kind of run into it a little bit, but I score on it more so of the concept of the episode. Employee of the Month, the ending was the only thing that really frustrated me. Here, this episode, there's a lot more that kind of frustrates me about it. But I still think it's a good episode. But like I said, it has a lot of problems with it. So Squidward is supposed to watch Gary, and of course, because it's a Gary-focused episode, Gary has to suffer because there's a lot of these we'll see down the road where he has to suffer. What happens is that Gary, doesn't get fed for a couple days, which. Honestly, in reality, technically getting not fed for a couple days, normally wouldn't harm an animal. Well, I guess it could harm some animals, but not usually a ton. You need to be responsible and take care of your pets, but not feeding them for a couple days usually won't do a lot, but it's still not good to do. That said, though, you do not want to leave them alone. I'll tell you guys a story here real quick that I actually never brought up before. I had this kitten named Autumn, and when my mom lived in Tebbets, this was like years ago. So me, my mom, and Grant, because at that time I had one sibling, and Scott, which was my mom's ex boyfriend, because she was split up with Andy. She was dating somebody else, but surprisingly she didn't actually just divorce him. I don't know why she didn't just divorce him. That was kind of strange. I guess if that were the case, I would have never met my friends from Hannibal. Even though I said Hannibal, I told you guys Hannibal was probably my least favorite part of my life. Was Hannibal. It was so goddamn awful. It was really bad. But I still had some things I liked up there too. But that said, though, when we were living there, Aunt Carrie was supposed to watch this kitten named Autumn. Well, she was the second kitten named Autumn. The first one ran away. We had a lot of problems where cats got wandered off out there, so I guess that people probably took them somewhere or something like that. Because the first one I got from, because we had found these two. Well, Aiden found these two kittens, which was, Tana's son. Who was my dad's ex girlfriend. I know, like, we had ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend. I know, very weird, but basically he found these two kittens out there, so he took one to us. That one, I don't remember how long she stayed, but she kind of just ran away, which is kind of weird. Now, I think she did that when Andy was still living there, what happened was my Aunt Carrie was supposed to watch the other one, and sadly what happened is she got stuck behind a fridge because, my mom did not watch them. My mom did not watch, she did not watch, not my mom, I mean my Aunt Carrie did not watch my kitten, our kitten, when we were gone like she was supposed to, so the kitten ended up getting stuck behind a fridge and sadly passed away. It was sad. So watching this episode here, I feel very bad. I literally feel it. Watching this episode. That said, though, this episode, though, what makes it a good episode, though, is I do kind of like the whole part. Like, I like the beginning part. In the middle, the middle one's not the middle is probably not the greatest, but the I don't know, it's got jokes. Like I like the endings. The endings, I guess, it's kind of stupid, but I don't know. I think for the most part, well, we got the middle and all that with SpongeBob turning into a snail and all that. But what makes me like this episode though, is it does a pretty good job at being a horror, ish, episode. Like it does a very good. I don't know what it's supposed to be a horror reference to but I do like how it's a good horror ish themed episode without making it too gross, out. And I like I said, there's some jokes I like. Like I like the part where when they turn into snails at the end, Patrick, what they're singing and all that, it's pretty funny. And then Patrick throws a shoe. He throws a freaking shoe at Squidward and all that, which it's kind of funny. Also, for some reason, Patrick has a boot, a random boot in his house. I don't know why that is. But it's pretty funny. And Patrick's got some funny moments before that too. But that said, though, the reason why I'm giving this one a 76, though, is because there's not really a ton wrong with it, but for me, though, I don't like the concept of, it kind of runs into a lot of problems I have with horror movies. We got, one of the characters having something wrong with them or pointing something out that something bad's gonna happen or this or that. Like, in this case, SpongeBob, gets injected with snail plasma. Squidward ignores him. Kind of like a lot of horror movies and shows do, And then, we have the other plot where he turns into one, and then, we spend a lot of the chunk of the episode, having freaking the character get traumatized and freaking running around like a scared maniac. Kind of like you do in a lot of horror movies, hold on a second. But yeah, a lot of freaking horror movies do this. They'll do this crap. They'll have the characters just randomly running around, and all that, and I'm like just shouting at my TV. I'm not literally shouting at it, but I'm like in my mind, I'm like, guys, just fucking leave the damn place. Stop running around like idiots and all that. And it's got that concept, and then it gets the concept where the ending is just questionable, and nothing gets resolved at the end. They're all stuck Squidward and SpongeBob are both stuck as snails. That's it. They're stuck as snails at the end. They don't get cured or nothing. Kind of like a lot of horror movies. They kind of just throw that shit at you at the end. I fucking hate that. Horror movies, I don't like. They're kind of a little scary at times, but some of them are not really bad. They're not too scary, but my problem is a lot of them are very predictable, or they're just like I said, they just have these stupid plots I don't fucking like, That said, though, this is not too bad. Like I said, I watch this occasionally, and I don't know, I don't know why. I still don't mind watching it. And like I said, it does a pretty good job with the horror aspects to it. A lot of people say SpongeBob turning into a snail is a little too gross out. I don't think it's too bad. I don't think it's that bad. That said, though, yeah, the ending where Squidward's running around in his house and all that, and then they turn into snails. And I mentioned in my review, I think, originally that Sandy does not cure them, she's a scientist. That's like I talked about the whole Sandy's Rocket episode. I'm like, this is the kind of episode they could have had Sandy do her science thing and all that, and could have she could have cured on them, but I guess because they were trying to do montage horror stuff, maybe that's why. But I think they do a pretty good job with it. But I still think it's probably my least favorite episode in Season 1. But the fact that this is my least favorite episode in Season 1 is still good, that's still impressive. Even though, like I said, it's not great. But like I said, it got a higher score than Employee of the Month. That's because I think the structure of the episode is a lot better. Even though the execution and the plot is not as enjoyable for me as Employee of the Month, I think the execution of the episode is a lot better. It's a lot better. But but like Employee of the Month, the ending is kind of stupid, takes it away, but yeah, there's not really a whole lot else to it. It's not really funny and all that, but I can see maybe why some people might not like this episode either, because again, it can be kind of stupid at times, like I said, the ending, and then the gross out humor with Spongebob and all that turning into a snail, but I don't think it's that gross, and there's also was a rumor going around originally that Squidward had a transformation sequence too, originally they had it. I don't know if that's been confirmed or not. I think that was just fake. It's still pretty crazy though that happened, but that said though, I think I've said all I need to say here, so let's go on and move on to another episode I've reviewed. SP-129. Now this episode, this one we're gonna go ahead and get it out of the way now. This one is getting a good and definitely 120 points. Definitely one of my favorite episodes of all time. This is a really good episode. I really like this episode a lot. I like the atmosphere. I like the chrome. I like the chrome atmosphere of this episode. I like how it focuses on Squidward. I really like that. And this episode is really funny. This episode is really, really funny. Really funny. Like, I like the part where, like where Squidward, like, goes back, like, he goes back and he gets frozen in his freezer, which I still question, like, how come nobody actually bothered to open the freezer at the Krusty Krab for 2,000 years, but, I mean, they didn't even open the freezer at all. Squidward just, he ended up falling and all that, and he somehow, got woken up by a robotic sponge, but I just like the whole concept of, like, how he got to the future, and I like how there's all these random SpongeBobs, and somehow in the future there's way more SpongeBobs and, like, letters of the alphabet and all that. So instead of, like, 26 letters, there's a bunch more of them. I forget how many they said there was. It's really funny, and I like the part where, like, where he goes in the past and he meets these prehistoric versions of SpongeBob and Patrick, and them stinging themselves. It's really funny. Like, I know some people might find it a little stupid how they're just randomly, like, they're randomly just, like, stinging themselves, but, which I would say would be kind of a stupid joke, but with Squidward here to, like, react to it, I think it's really funny. But then he goes into the middle of nowhere, and, I like that, and then he, like, stomps, and, like, somehow he invents jellyfishing, and it's really funny. There's a lot of stuff in this episode I really like. One thing I want to point out, though, about this episode is apparently it takes place in 2000, what was it done, like, wait, was it 3,000? No, wait, yeah, I think it was it, no, I think, yeah, it was like 3,000, I don't remember how many years it was. I think it was 3,017, or was it 4,017? No, I think it was 4,017, I think. Yeah. Meaning this episode takes place in 2017, at the beginning, which is kind of crazy. So like, the timeline is, like, all over the place in SpongeBob, but in this episode, it takes place in the year 2017. So, pretty interesting. But yeah, I remember, like, reviewing this episode, to celebrate, the February 29th day. I uploaded that one, it was a little bit late. I mean, I think that the video is off a little bit, but I tried to upload it when I could. It got uploaded a little bit later than I wanted to, but like a minute later. But I tried to celebrate February 29th for you guys. But that said, though, that's pretty much all I have to say here. Next up, we have Karate Choppers. Like the other one, I'm just going to go ahead and give it a score. And this one's getting good, and it is also getting 120 points. Like the last one, you guys can check out my full review if you guys want to on this. This is another episode I really, really like. I like too how how SpongeBob and Sandy compete throughout this entire episode, and I like seeing SpongeBob actually win some matches. I like him seeing him. Yeah, but yeah, he wins but he ends up winning matches because in future SpongeBob episodes, except for Dungeons and Dragons, SpongeBob pretty much always loses a karate match. I guess there is like a few occasions where he will win by accident. For the most part, he pretty much loses, unless he's doing it by accident. Which I don't know why they got rid of that. I kind of like this concept better. I think I said in the review too that this title card theme does not appear again. Actually, it does appear in the Karate Island episode in season 4. Apparently, it makes a tiny appearance in one of the fight scenes. Not a very long one, but a tiny one, which is nice. But I kind of wish they kind of brought back the music. But yeah, it kind of sucks they got rid of the music. I don't know why they got rid of it. I really like the music. It's really catchy. But they do play it throughout the entire episode. But another thing I like about this episode too is how desperate Sandy and SpongeBob are with the whole karate thing. They really like karate. I mean, they really, really like karate. I heard some people saying that that this is supposed to be like a metaphor for sex, which I don't really get that joke. Maybe somebody can explain that to me. However, I will say they do act like that throughout this entire episode. Like they are really trying so hard not to do karate, which is kind of like trying not to masturbate and all that. Which, if you guys know what the reason why I know a lot about that because of Family Guy. Family Guy talks about those jokes all the time. And yeah. But yeah, it is very kind of weird, but I still don't get if that's the actual joke or not, but still a really good episode. But like I said, you guys can talk, we can talk about it later, not later, you guys can, check out my, review I did on it in the past. But that said, though, let's go ahead and actually move on to the next one. Next up, we have Sleepy Time. After 3 in a row, we are now finally back with an episode that I have not talked about before, and that is Sleepy Time. So this episode has actually got a really nice concept to it. So SpongeBob actually goes to sleep here, and he dreams, and ends up we actually get a reveal to, that SpongeBob, we get a reveal to that SpongeBob apparently has, we reveal how, when he was born. I think it said he was born in, I think it's 1983 or 1986. I can't remember when it said he was born. I think it's 1986, which means he would have worked at the Krusty Krab when he would have started working there when he was 13. Well, 12 or 13. Which, to be fair, though, I guess technically makes a little bit of sense, because a lot of younger, teens, usually it's kind of rare for a 13-year-old to go, or 12 or 13-year-old to go to a restaurant and work, but not always. Sometimes I've heard people do that. But to live on your own, though, that's a little bit kind of strange. But I guess to be fair, though, the whole concept of sponges in real life, sponges can actually live a long time. So it kind of makes a little bit of sense, I guess. But we also get revealed that Mr. Krabs' dream too. We get to reveal that he also ages too. His age is revealed too, which I forgot that. I had all this stuff wrote down. I could not find the notebook anywhere that had it. So I was just like, I feel like I kind of wanted to just let other people kind of talk about the episodes and point stuff out too, So I'm like, I kind of would like to be able to point things out too that I think about that other people might not point out, but still, But this entire episode has SpongeBob's, like, dream version of himself. I think it's himself because, when he's sleeping, he's actually, in dream form, but he's kind of aware of himself, but I don't know. But when he wakes up, apparently he doesn't even like know what's going on and all that, because everybody kind of shows up at his house because throughout this entire episode he kind of screws a lot of shit up in people's dreams, which I think can kind of be a little bit annoying, you know. To be fair though, he only kind of screws up a few dreams. Like he screws up Sandy, Squidward's, and Mr. Krabs' dreams. Well, Plankton's too, but Plankton was also kind of having a bad dream where he was like crushing everybody, which is the first time we see actually Plankton at a very big size. We'll see it again down the road, but pretty interesting there. But Plankton, Plankton's dream, you know, like has that and all that, but I don't know why everybody else is kind of just, like, there too at the end. I mean, the ending's kind of stupid, I will say, because the other people, I'm like, well, number one, it's like a dream. It's not like it's real. And number two, some of these characters, like Pearl and Gary, like, why are they so pissed off? Because it's not like their dreams are ruined, you know, by SpongeBob's. I don't know, it's kind of weird. But that said, though, besides the ending, like, and the ending's not even that bad, I think for the most part this episode is really good. I really like the concept of it. Also, the animation's a little bit, newerish looking, you know, because I think this episode came out way later, as we see up here. So that's pretty interesting there. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give this one a good, and then we're also gonna give this one 120 points. Yeah, I'll say the ending is definitely very stupid. I definitely don't like the ending. And yeah, SpongeBob can be a little annoying at times, but I still think this episode deserves 120 points. Like, it barely gets a pass with 120 points. Because, I still think there's a lot to enjoy with this episode. I like the concept of it. It's really good, and I like the different dreams there is to it, which is really cool. With that said, though, I like it. It's probably not one of my favorite episodes of Season 1, but still really good. But, yeah, a lot of other people don't even talk about this episode much. But, let's go ahead and move on to another episode, Suds. So, Suds is next. In this episode, SpongeBob actually gets Suds, which is his version of a cold, where bubbles come out of him, his body. What happens is he once again has a dream. I like how, like the last episode and this episode, he has a dream about Krabby Patty. So, they both take place at night. But yeah, they're clearly different episodes. It would have been kind of funny if they were tied in there, but speaking of which, I'm not feeling good myself, but yeah, I should probably be making these videos, but I kind of want to get this one done, which is definitely going to be the last review I will do in this video here, but yeah, that said, though, yeah, Suds, though, is definitely the episode we're going to talk about here. And yeah, Suds is, like I said, SpongeBob ends up making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, as he puts it, because it's peanut butter, not peanut butter, which I kind of like. I like how it's called peanut butter, which is pretty funny. So instead of peanuts, it's sea nuts, which is really interesting. Are there actually sea nuts? I don't really know. But that said, though, this episode, he actually gets sick and goes into work, which definitely is not a very good idea, because, you know, like I said, you don't want to get people sick, which is kind of what I'm kind of worried about with the party. Like, I didn't even know I wasn't really feeling this bad earlier, but that said, though, he goes to work and starts getting sick. Mr. Krabs actually checks in on him, and then ends up realizing he's sick, so tells him to go home, and And God, this Mr. Krabs, like, I love this Mr. Krabs. Like, come on, like, can we have cheap episodes, but have, like, also this Mr. Krabs back? Like, come on, like, he was such a short-lived, like, character, like, I really wish we could get this Mr. Krabs back. Like, I love this one. Because in later episodes, like, he wouldn't even let SpongeBob go. Like, he'll try to scam them out of money and all that. Like, this Mr. Krabs is so much better. Like, again, there will be some good episodes down the road where we'll have him be a cheapskate. But in this episode, though, like, I really like how he has a soft side for SpongeBob. He really cares about SpongeBob and his employees, which is what I miss. But he tells him to go home and all that, and get some rest, which he should. And then, Sandy comes. He calls Sandy, and Patrick comes and plays doctor, and tries to make him better, which honestly is not a very good idea, because Patrick is a very shitty doctor, and to be fair, though, Patrick is just trying to look after his friend because he doesn't want him to go to and suffer at a hospital. And Patrick says the worst part of the doctor is the stethoscope, thing that goes in your chest. Oh no, that's not even close. I would say probably the worst part for me. I guess this kind of depends. Like, if you're getting, like, if you need stitches or something, I guess it kind of depends. For the most part, though, the worst part of going to the doctor is the waiting room. Like, when I fractured my elbow, I was sitting in the damn waiting room for, like, freaking 5 hours. Like, well, I guess it was more about it was about 4.5 hours, because, it would have been about 4 hours, because, I had to sit in the back and wait for them to come. I was watching some, Adult Swim in the waiting room. Was watching King of the Hill and all that on there. Because I couldn't get Nickelodeon to work on there, because I was going to try to see if they had any, other episodes on there besides SpongeBob on there, because Nickelodeon's starting to kind of air some other episodes too, but, I don't know, they couldn't get it to work for some reason, so that said, though, this episode, though, But like I said, this episode though has got this episode I will say, yeah, like the whole waiting room thing, yeah, I have to say Patrick is wrong on that. I think that's probably the worst, like, for the most part, that's the worst part of the freaking doctor. It's just the waiting room. I guess the bill was pretty bad too, but even then, like, the bill was like, I mean, all later, like, they drain your bank account, like, it's still not as bad as I said sitting in the waiting room. That's pretty bad. But that said, though, I like too how he's like trying to help SpongeBob. Ends up like, and Sandy comes over, and I like how he's trying to hide SpongeBob in another rock. Like where did he even get this other rock? I guess to be fair, it looks like he might have like hid it underneath there or something. I don't know. But that said, SpongeBob, is not better and has to go to the hospital, which I do feel bad for Mr. Krabs in this episode, too. He once again gets his restaurant destroyed by SpongeBob, and, I do, feel bad that the customers got chased out, because they discovered that a sick employee was making the food, but, I don't feel like in this case, they make SpongeBob very unlikable, and unlike Employee of the Month, where they kind of make me kind of hate SpongeBob and Squidward at the end of the episode. Here, I don't feel I feel bad for Mr. Krabs for getting his restaurant destroyed and all that, and losing the customers, but I don't feel like they make it as frustrating, But I do like too. We see the doctor here, which we saw in I Was a Teenage Gary. So I guess he works with a vet, and he also works as a doctor, or maybe it's a different fish who happens to look like him, or possibly maybe he has two different jobs. I don't know. That said, though, I like how we see Tom Kenny in the shower too. Yeah, I don't know what was with this season, but we see Tom Kenny in the shower like twice. I didn't bring this up, but we saw Tom Kenny's face and the ketchup, or the hot sauce thing in the karate episode. But we see him actually in the shower here, which is kind of weird. Like, I don't know why they chose the shower. That's kind of weird. It's very weird. But I guess Tom Kenny didn't mind because he did it twice. So you get to see some Tom Kenny fans out there to get to see him in the shower, I guess. But funny thing though about Tom Kenny, he was actually sick when he was actually making this episode too. So he actually recorded different lines for different times. But he was actually sick when he was recording his lines, and he didn't do them over the phone. He just came into the place and did it. So he went in there and all that. But he was not feeling good. So he made this episode and all that. And he did this when he was sick. So that's pretty interesting. But that said though, yeah, there's a lot of things I do like about this episode. I also like how Patrick kind of gets his comeuppance for pretending to be a doctor. Although I will say maybe his punishment is a little bit harsh because he wasn't trying to harm SpongeBob. He was just trying to help him. But to be fair though, pretending to be a doctor is not a good thing either. I guess it's better than going to jail. Because he could have gone to jail, like Sandy said in the episode. He could have gone to jail for what he did. But I don't know. But that said though, yeah, Suds is a really good episode. I really do like it. Definitely getting good, and definitely another 120 points. Wow, another good episode with another 120 points. And that's the last of the episodes for today. I'm probably going to be resting though. I'm definitely not feeling very good, and I cannot breathe very well, so I'll probably be resting for today. But that said though, yeah, this episode is really good, and I'm really glad we actually have a good 120 episode to end it off on. A lot of the other ones have been good, but not they've not been 120 points wise. Either that or they've had some problems. To be fair, though, I had to review a couple of them out of order, like Squeaky Boots. So maybe it would have been different if I did it the other way. I don't know, but that said, though, that's the last one now. Thank you guys for the support, and I'll see you guys all later. Bye-bye.